This is episode 6 of B&B True Crime. I am Becky. She is Beth.
I am Beth, and that is Becky.
It is indeed. We are here with pizza, chips, and donuts tonight, and a case I actually really love. I know all about this one, and I'm hoping you've got some new stuff for me.
I might do.
I'm
to
prepared.
Find out.
I just want to hear all about our boy,
Richard Ramirez. That's today's episode.
The Night Stalker.
Today's.
My first serial killer.
That you what? It was on Netflix.
Yeah.
The Night
It's the
Stalker.
first case I ever watched with you in our Let's Introduce Me to Crime and the Serial Killer world, and I was like, let's go watch that one. That one looks terrifying. And it was. I do remember that you had to walk me back downstairs to my room again afterwards, because I was like, what are you watching?
I did. But
it's traumatizing, but also very good at the same time. I recommend it if you haven't seen it.
I do believe it's still on Netflix.
I do believe it is, yeah. And if you haven't seen it, what are you doing with your life? Go see it now,
exactly.
Please.
So Rich Ramirez, today's episode. Just quick lowdown if you don't already know what we basically do in these episodes. Very simple. I'm a true crime enthusiast.
Nerd.
Thank you. Becky is a criminology student.
Who knows nothing about serial killers.
So literally,
get that.
It's just two women, two bitches, talking true crime.
Indeed.
That's literally all it is, but you seem to be enjoying it so far, so... And we're enjoying it, so
we are officially on Spotify, people. We're going somewhere.
Celebrations, yeah, we're
Happy
on Spotify.
Days.
Also, on that note, we now also have a Facebook page.
And a Twitter page.
So honestly, feel free to message us if you want any specific cases covering.
Please do.
We have already a long list of ones we're going to cover, but we will happily bump yours up the list.
Indeed.
If you have any feedback or anything for us as well, give us a message, give us a post out on there. Obviously, if we do your case, you will get a shout out as well in the podcast. So honestly, hit us up there. We also have a Patreon as well, and the episodes will be on there too. Right. So quickly before we start, we do also have our first sponsor.
We do indeed.
Which is
us.
Big stuff, adult life. Here we are. True podcasters now.
Yes, we are.
So basically, our sponsor. Thank you. Words have already left me this episode. Great start.
She's going well, guys.
Our sponsor for today is a website called Buzzsprout. So Buzzsprout is the website where we actually created our podcast to begin with. It was the first place we started uploading episodes. It has got quite a wide audience. And so if you basically sign up, after you have done your second either podcast or second paid podcast, because they do all different payment things. They do free ones as well. But even I'm using the payment one now. After your second paid service, you will get a £20 Amazon gift card from them. So
20 smackaroonies to spend on Amazon. Not like I need any encouragement to shop on Amazon.
Exactly. It would help with the lead up to Christmas and everything.
Oh god, yeah.
Go mad. So very much recommend. This is what we use still. But there you go. And they help you get on Spotify too.
Which is very good and very difficult.
But they make it a lot easier. So, anyway, let's cut all that. We know why we're here.
Done. Dear God.
You know why you're here.
We're here to talk crime.
We're here to talk some gruesome, famous serial killer. We're going to get into it.
We are.
So,
I'm here.
Richard Ramirez.
My boy.
Maybe you don't want to be saying
I would like just to point out that I in no way condone his actions.
That is a good thing to clarify. Yeah. Yes. Born 29th February 1960. Very weird. Also, if it sounds like we're munching, we are, and you should definitely be munching too.
We are currently snacking on chips.
It's really weird to think he was only born in 1960.
Right, a few years older than my parents.
Yeah. If you think about it, that wasn't actually that long ago. But then again, obviously, us living in the UK, we don't have to worry about all that US stuff. Most of them are in the US, so serial killers and such.
Yeah.
So
without a doubt,
would at least be safe from good old Richard. And also the time where he's killing people, which he does, but we'll get into that. They had a habit of not locking doors or windows. So,
which baffles me.
Yeah.
Although now that I remember distinctly, there was a time that my father decided, oh, let's start locking our doors, and then proceeded to lose the key, and then posted me through a window at the top of a barn door to break into my own house.
Amazing. Well, it's
So maybe locking your door isn't such a great idea, but at the same time, do lock your door, please, people.
Well, it was really normal at that time to not lock your door.
Oh, I know.
Because people felt safe enough in their communities that they didn't feel the need they had to.
Mistake number one.
Literally, yeah. So, the last thing of today's podcast, lock your doors.
Yeah.
And your windows.
Last week it was protection.
Yeah. Yep.
This week it's protection again, but lock your windows and your doors.
Your house this time.
This coming from the woman who leaves the front door literally open.
Okay, not the front door of the flat, though. Can we, I always lock it, right? Unless you're in the house. And then I'll think about locking it. Right, anyway, moving on. So, he was born in Texas, in a place called El Paso.
Oh, that does not surprise me.
Yeah, no, honestly, no. No. He was...
El Paso, Texas?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised a serial killer came from El Paso, Texas.
I mean, it sounds like a funky place.
It does sound like a funky place. How many times does Texas come up on the crime list?
Well, yeah, it's a bit of a questionable place. My apologies if anyone's listening from Texas. He was the youngest child. So, already tells you they weren't
everything you need to know.
There, yeah. His father actually was a policeman for a time. Yeah. However, his father was a bit of an asshole. He was apparently an alcoholic, quite angry, especially when drunk, and when he was like that, would often physically be violent to his wife and the kids.
We're off to a great start here.
Yeah. Things are looking
good for Richard.
Interesting, yes.
Little old Ricky has a good life so far. No.
I mean, usually I'd be like, well, maybe not, just that will inspire someone to start killing. However, his older cousin...
Aha, I've heard about this today.
Oh, this guy. He is absolutely, I gotta say, the main reason why Richard became who he was.
That's fair. I mean, I've heard stories about his cousin.
It's nothing good.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a serial killer, so I doubt there's much good involved.
Yeah. Nothing good about the cousin either.
Great. Good start.
So, when Richard was 12, he actually used to be called Richie.
Richie!
Incredible, yeah.
Oh, little Richie.
Little Richie, as he was known to his family. He was strongly influenced by his older cousin, the douchebag, even bigger than his father, Miguel Ramirez.
Miguel?
He was...
Miguel? Oh,
yeah,
all
literally. Right. He was a decorated Green Beret combat veteran. That was a mouthful to say.
It was a Green Beret? Wow.
I don't know what that means, but I'm assuming it's high level.
Special Forces.
Okay. He claimed, this is his cousin, he claimed that he was already a serial killer.
The cousin?
And a rapist. The cousin. Yeah.
Told 12-year-old Richie that he was a serial killer and a rapist.
In Vietnam. Only in Vietnam.
Only in Vietnam. What happens in Vietnam stays in Vietnam.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so Vietnam, they had this guy.
Vietnam was a party for this man.
America had Richard. So, yeah. And that was just the nicest thing he said to Richard, clearly.
Great.
So he often used to and again the cousin, often to boast about his very brutal war crimes he committed during the Vietnam War. And he apparently used to share Polaroid pictures of his victims both during and after the crimes that he had committed.
Oh, he kept an album.
And these pictures, they included Vietnamese women he had raped, murdered, and dismembered. He is showing this to a 12-year-old boy.
Life looking good for Richie.
Oh yeah, it gets worse. Of course it does. With the cousin, obviously. So many of the women and girls in the photos were also bound to trees with rope before good old Mike raped them. And afterwards, having been killed by him decapitating them with a machete. Pictures of those also. Great. In some of the photos, good old Mike posed with the severed heads of the women that he had sexually assaulted and murdered. As you do.
You know, some people have family albums. This guy
has
whatever the hell this is.
Bloody snuff photo album or something.
We live in the good old days.
Oh, he really was. Richard would later state, when he was in jail, that he was actually never shocked or repulsed by the images or the stories that his cousin told him.
That's moderately disconcerting.
Yeah, he said instead that they fascinated him. Yeah, definitely get the child in therapy after he said that. But
that's worrying.
It is very worrying.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
It says a lot.
You don't get me wrong. I was vaguely fascinated when we dissected a frog and a heart and stuff like that in science class, but I feel like this is like a step or 7 further
in the other direction.
In another direction.
Yeah.
It's moderately worrying. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Just moderately, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a good start, but he hasn't actually done anything yet.
True. 2 years previously, good old Richard had begun smoking marijuana and drinking alcohol.
At 10.
That is very early.
10?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if it's different in America than it is here. Like, I know, obviously, a lot of kids try alcohol and drugs, you know, before the legal age.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, that's really young.
At 10 is
especially for drugs as well,
yeah.
So I don't know how different it is in America than here. I know we do things differently.
We do.
We have different ages for things.
We do.
Well, to me, that's very young. So, going back to the cousin.
You know, if your cousin is a murderer and a rapist, marijuana's not going to be that bad.
Just in Vietnam. In America, he's a sweetheart, okay? Right, so back to the cousin.
In America, he's a veteran.
He's a veteran. You know, war.
Hero.
More like criminal. Mike taught Richard some of his military skills, such as killing with stealth and effectively staying hidden in the dark, especially at night. Just normal things to teach, you know, your family. It's, yeah.
It's worrying.
The whole relationship there is very worrying.
I would not put that on my CV.
No, because that would be quite concerning to look at. So, on the 4th of May, 1973, Richard was there also when this one happened. His cousin, Big Mike, you know, the legend, the war hero.
The one, the only.
Yeah. Mike, fatally shot his wife, Jessie, in the face with a handgun during a domestic argument. Now that screams America, if you're asking me. Low-key, a little bit. Right, that shit ain't gonna fly in Britain.
That shit don't fly in Britain.
It just doesn't happen.
Violent stabbings. The occasional sword, maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that Red Power Ranger. With the sword. But
definitely not a handgun.
No. In the face.
In the face. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I've heard of people being stabbed.
Yeah.
I've heard of people being beaten.
Yeah, beaten, sure.
I suppose that's the thing, like, handguns are so difficult to get in the UK.
And so easy there. Yeah, exactly. It's just one of the big problems. Really, on side note, I really am against guns. Like, really. I think all the guns in the world should be put together and then destroyed. Because then people are going to have to use other things, other ways than guns
to kill somebody.
Well, to do that, or you can't tell me a lot of gun crime wouldn't go down if all the guns were destroyed. So many less people would die.
Honey.
And then it's like leaders and fucking armies and stuff would have to sort out their problems in other ways.
So what you're saying is the women need to be in charge?
Yes, I am saying that.
Huh.
Yes, I am saying that. So, after the shooting, Richard became very sullen and withdrawn from his family and peers. It's
More
just,
withdrawn than he already was.
Yeah, it's just going down a downward spiral here.
It's getting intriguing, I'll give you that one.
Thank you. By the time Ramirez turned 14 in 1974, he had begun using LSD frequently, and he'd created an interest in Satanism and the occult. We've all been there, but maybe not with LSD. Mike was found, shockingly, not guilty of Jesse's murder by reason of insanity.
I mean...
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, he's definitely guilty, but I think there is definitely an argument for insanity there, because, let's be honest, that guy does not give off completely mentally stable vibes.
No, he absolutely does not.
I got to tell you.
He'd probably know if it was right or wrong, though, so surely... You know what? He got away with it anyway.
Honey, we're not here to talk about Mike.
Big Mike.
No.
He's an interesting character, though.
He is. He is.
So the reason he did get reason of insanity is because of his severe wartime PTSD, apparently, from serving in Vietnam. And he was released in 1977. So not long afterwards. Yeah, he's just living his best life.
I want to,
Big
you know
Mike
what?
is.
We should Google later on. We should Google what happened to Mike Ramirez just to find out. Because
Yeah.
I want to know what happened to this geezer.
He only spent 4 years in the Texas State Mental Hospital for shooting his wife in the face in public. Yep. Yes.
In public?
In public.
That's
with the
impressive.
family there, family gathering.
Nice.
Yeah. His influence over Ramirez apparently continued. And it is known that Mike, after he was released, would continue bonding with Richard over a shared use of drugs and alcohol. And he'd sometimes accompany Richard and someone called Roberto, I have no idea who Roberto is, on their nighttime voyeuristic walks where they would apparently spy on women in the nearby areas without their knowledge through their windows. Again, just normal family outings.
I would just like to say that this is the reason why I keep my windows closed at all times.
Yeah,
curtains drawn.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Because this is exactly what I don't want happening.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's just a thing.
Family outing, man. Sometimes you gotta go peeping. Let's not. I'm not condoning
Don't
peeping.
condone. She doesn't condone this. I would just like to mention that.
I was being very sarcastic there.
Thank God.
Yeah, I know.
She had also just eaten a chip, so her kooky sense of humour was going off.
My apologies. So, Richard, in adolescence, apparently began to meld his bludgeoning sexual fantasies with graphic violence.
Do you mean burgeoning sexual fantasies?
Maybe I did, but that's okay. That's okay, we're moving on. Let's just...
Like bludgeoning sexual... How do you bludgeon somebody during a sexual fantasy?
Well, we're about to find out. He enjoyed forced bondage, murder, mutilation, and rape. We know this.
I don't know whether that counts as a sexual fantasy.
Well, yeah, like, people, like, go on Pornhub and stuff and search for that kind of thing.
Yeah, but...
Like, with time, sex is becoming a lot more violent these days. So I'm not really surprised, to be honest, he was thinking about all that. Especially after the pictures and stuff Big Mike showed him. He'd already seen them kind of things.
I mean, we are forgetting that this is during the 80s.
Yeah, or
like...
70s.
70s.
Yeah, so
70s to 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
Okay, yeah, no,
understandable.
Okay, alright.
So apparently, while still in school, he took a job at the local Holiday Inn.
I'm
surprised.
Who?
I'm surprised.
Who thought this was a good idea?
Yeah, it really was not. It did not go well. He likes to use his passkey to rob sleeping patrons. It gets worse.
I shouldn't be giggling at that, but it was quite entertaining.
Well, that was the tamest part of it. On at least one occasion, he sexually fondled and molested 2 children in an elevator at the hotel.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Wait, what?
But it was never reported or prosecuted. His employment abruptly ended, aka was fired, for attempting to rape a woman in her hotel room before her husband returned to find them. The husband apparently beat Ramirez senseless at the scene, and...
Yes! Husband from unknown hotel room!
Obviously saved his wife from being raped, but...
Trauma.
They, for some reason, did not prosecute either. did not say why. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they were afraid that Ramirez would come at them with, like, assault charges for the guy beating him.
I guess true, yeah. Unless they were just sat aside enough with the beating. So, we're at Richard at 22.
22. So that was only 10 years of trauma.
Yes.
Great.
So, we're now in the 80s.
We're now in the 80s.
This is when it all goes downhill even further.
I'm starting to question how steep this hill is.
Yeah, it's pretty steep. So in 1982, age 22, he moved to California, which was like his main
base of operations.
Yeah. It was around this time he started to use cocaine too. That would be his primary drug of choice.
What's another drug to the list?
I know, honestly, he'd already been on a few by then. He would continue to commit theft and burglaries to get money for the drugs. Obviously. 3 years later,
pretty lucrative if you think about it.
When he's at 25, it does now go all downhill, right to the peak. Or pit, even.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no peak mountain of this, there is none. So 1984. This is when he just goes off.
Off the rails.
Yeah, this is just, he's like, you know what, fuck it. Fuck it. It's happening.
I do wonder.
We're gonna do it.
What made him snap? Like,
yeah, I guess.
It's just pretty petty shit up until now. Besides,
You kept
raping people in hotels and molesting kids in the elevator.
Yeah.
Besides that, he's been in a pretty, petty streak at the moment of...
Controllable.
Yeah, robberies to get a fix. It's not that bad. So what made him go on, like, a killing spree? Basically.
Maybe the fantasies and stuff got too much for him. And he was like, I can't control it anymore.
He does escalate with his violence from the beginning, doesn't he?
Really does, yeah. He gets pretty graphic, so I'm going to give you a warning now.
As if the name The Night Stalker isn't enough of a warning.
Probably should have given a warning at the beginning, but you know what? You watch this, you know what it's about. You've probably heard about it.
So just to let you know, this is going to get really graphic.
Yeah, if you thought Big Mike was bad...
Probably...
Well...
Tap out now and we'll see you next episode.
We won't be offended, it's okay. So, April 10th, 1984, he's about 25. Ramirez murdered a 9-year-old Chinese-American girl named Mei Lung in the basement of the apartment building that he was living at the time. The child was with her 8-year-old brother when she reportedly lost a $1 bill and went to go look for it. He approached her and told her that he knew where it was. She followed him into the basement, and once they were in the basement, he beat, strangled, and raped her before stabbing her to death with a switchblade and hanging her partially nude body from a pipe by her blouse.
That's an image.
Yeah.
That's an image.
Yeah.
I do not remember that in the Netflix program.
No, I don't think that was in it. But yeah.
I was like 9-year-old?
That was his official, technique.
First kill.
Yeah. 9-year-old
A 9-year-old girl.
Yeah.
That he beat, raped. Stabbed.
Yeah. Yeah. Just for her looking for a $1 bill.
The price of that $1 bill. Whew.
Yeah. I wonder where the brother was this time.
The brother probably left.
Just still there, be like, what the fuck is my sister at? She's taking a while. Yeah.
She's 8.
He's 8. Seriously.
He's probably not got much concept of the fact that she's taking a while. He's probably just sitting there chilling, waiting for her to come back.
But at what point does he leave and be like, oh, this is a bit...
That kid's traumatized.
Yeah, probably.
Straight off the bat, that kid's traumatized.
Yeah. So, next official murder.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the murder zone now, so... Yeah, it's
Roger
all happening.
That. Murders.
June 28th, 1984, so he was mostly active 1984 to 1985.
This is where we really start getting into it now.
So, Jenny Vincow in LA. She was 79, and she was found brutally murdered in her apartment.
Also not on the Netflix program.
I don't know, she might have been. She had been stabbed repeatedly in the head, neck, and chest while asleep in her bed. Yeah, that's
the determination that you have to stab Bunny in the head, let me tell you.
The anger you have to have that much force to do that. Yeah, insane. And she also had her throat slashed so deeply that she was nearly decapitated.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
His fingerprint was actually found on a mesh screen that he'd removed to get into the apartment.
We love mesh screening. It's so robust.
But this helped law enforcement eventually establish his pattern of sort of breaking into homes, partially committing or completely committing vicious murders, and then mostly burglarizing the victims as well, before or after killing them. So, March 17th. So a lot of them were also quite close together as well. We're in 1985.
Okay.
So this is the peak Richard Ramirez year.
Yeah.
Maria Hernandez and Yoshi Okazaki in Rosemead. Hernandez actually survived, I want to point out to begin with.
Hey, he's our first survivor.
Yeah. Ramirez attacked 22-year-old Maria Hernandez outside of her home. He actually shot her in the face with a .22 caliber after she had pulled into the garage.
Oh, I remember this case.
Yeah.
This one was on the Netflix, definitely. It was the
definitely
first case.
Yeah.
It was his first kill on the Netflix show.
Yeah. She managed to luckily survive when the bullet actually ricocheted off the keys that were in her hand when she lifted up her hands to protect her face. So,
wow.
That was a close call. She then played dead until he left the scene. But in leaving the scene, he'd actually gone back into the house where her roommate was, Okazaki, who was 34. She had heard the gunshot and ducked down beneath the counter.
And he waited for her to stand up before he shot her.
Literally,
yeah. I remember.
That is exactly what happened. She did not survive.
She's very dead.
Yeah. March 17th.
Didn't he then turn around back out and he walked into her again and she was like, what, are you going to shoot me again?
Yeah, and then
he just smiled and left.
Yeah.
I mean,
literally.
the cojones.
Yeah, the balls.
The balls.
Everyone.
To go after. Nearly get a shot in the face, survive, see the guy who shot and be like, what are you going to do? You're going to shoot me again?
Yeah.
And then because of that, you survive.
Literally, I know.
Like, hats off to that woman. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
On the same day, literally moments after he murdered Okazaki,
whilst running away from the scene.
Yeah. He was on the highway and he pulled Veronica Yu in Monterey Park, 30 years old, out of a car, shot her twice with the same gun, and she was unfortunately dead on arrival to the hospital.
So that's 2 people dead in a day.
Yep. Just
nearly a third.
Yeah, just broad daylight, mate. So March 27th, 1985, obviously. Vincent and Mazine Zazara in Whitaker.
Some beautiful pronunciation there.
Thank you. I don't want to talk about it.
I love it.
So it was 2 a.m. He killed Vincent, who was asleep at the time, who was 64, with a gunshot to his head from the same handgun. This made the wife wake up.
Naturally, because, somebody just got shot in her house.
Literally, in the bed. She's 44. So he beat her.
Oh, let me guess. Did he rape her?
No, he did not.
Whoa, wait, what?
Yeah, no, he didn't. A bit more brutal.
Okay.
So he beat her.
Oh.
He put her in bonds while he went to go, loot the house. She managed to escape these bonds, and she found a shotgun under the bed. And she attempted to shoot him with it. However, it was not loaded. And that really, really, really pissed him off. So, he shot her 3 times, stabbed her several times with a kitchen knife from the kitchen, removed her eyes, put them in a jewellery box, and then took it with him.
I'm speechless.
Yeah. This was also the first scene where his trainer footprints had been found outside.
Ah, the window.
Yeah, the window.
Yes, because he lifted it up and it pushed his footprint, the shoe prints, the tread prints, into the dirt underneath the window.
Literally. So,
and because he had to push up and it had been raining, they were bigger. For some reason.
So, on to May 14th, same year.
Okay.
Bill and Lillian Doy, Monterey Park again. Lillian managed to survive. Bill, who was 66 years old, and Lillian was 56.
That's Monterey Park, honey.
Shh, I'm gonna say it how I want to say it. It's my podcast, bitch.
Hour!
Who designed all the shit? Me, bitch.
You literally said it was our podcast.
Shut the
like,
fuck
not
up.
an hour
Let me
ago.
continue with this. So, he surprised Lillian in the bedroom.
Did he now?
Yeah. The
Bitch.
husband was also there. Ramirez shot him in the face.
He likes shooting people in the face, doesn't he?
He does that quite a bit. Doy was actually reaching for his own handgun at the time. Obviously, never made it. He
Clearly.
beat him as well.
Great.
Bound the wife, raped her, looted the house, and left. Bill died of his injuries.
I'm guessing the wife survived.
The wife survived. May 29th, Mabel and Florence Lang, in Monrovia. They both survived. However, Belle did actually die from her injuries.
Old ladies?
They were the old ladies.
The two old ladies.
Yeah.
They were sisters.
So Mabel was 83 years old, and her disabled sister Florence, who was 81. He actually went in, used a hammer to bludgeon, bound Lang in her bedroom. He then bound and bludgeoned Belle, and he even used an electric cord to shock her a lot. He then went back, raped Lang, and then he used Belle's lipstick to draw satanic pentagrams on her thigh and all the walls in the numerous bedrooms. The women were found 2 days later.
2 days?
Yeah. So May 30th.
What the hell?
Yeah, I know. May 30th, Carol, Kyle, and her 11-year-old son. This was in Burbank. So he snuck into their home. Carol's 42. He bound her and robbed the house again. He raped Kyle repeatedly. Kyle is the mum, just FYI. Ordered her not to look at him or he would cut her out her eyes.
Oh, is she the one that was like
fled.
saying, please God, don't kill me?
Yeah.
And then he said, don't beg God, beg Satan.
That was another victim, but yeah, he says pretty much the same thing to a lot of the victims.
What the hell?
Yeah. July 2nd, Mary Louise Cannon in Arcadia. Mary was 75.
Arcadia, boo!
I know, yeah, Life is Strange.
Life is Strange is good.
Mary was 75. He'd snuck in, bludgeoned her with a lamp while she was in bed, and then stabbed her to death with a butcher knife. July 5th, so literally it's coming to the point now where it's either several a day or like very close between.
Where are the police during all this?
They're trying their best, is what they're doing, but he's not leaving like gratuitous amounts of evidence. And they're really determined to look into the trainers.
They're very hot on those trainers, aren't they?
Yeah, you'll see more about the police side of it in the documentary, so go see that. This is mostly just about him and the murders. So, July 5th, so literally 3 days after the last one, Whitney Bennett in Sierra Madre, she actually survived. He snuck in, and Whitney, who is 16 at the time...
Sierra Madre? Please continue.
He attacked her with a tire iron, strangled her with the phone cord, and fled.
This guy is not using guns anymore.
She apparently, because she wouldn't die from being strangled, he thought that Jesus had like saved her and didn't want her dead, so he left.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought this guy believed in Satan, but also a little bit Jesus as well. She needed 478 stitches just to her head from the tie iron. Yeah.
I'm trying to comprehend how many stitches that is.
That's insane.
I am impressed that anybody with over 200 stitches is alive.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
even going anywhere near 400 stitches.
Yeah, she had to have some brain damage or something.
At what point, after an injury like that, is life worth living? Like, really?
I mean, like, she survived, so she's not paralyzed or anything. 2 days later.
The trauma, though.
Yeah. Joyce Nelson. Joyce was 60, beaten to death. And this one I found particularly gruesome. He actually... beaten to death isn't the right word for it. He stomped her to death. He stomped on her head till she died. And his footprint was found on her face. from how hard he'd been stomping her.
Shit. That's
the
impressive.
anger and the rage it must take
That
to
is
do
a lot.
That's insane.
That's a recurring theme, though.
Yeah,
It's
true.
like this guy cracks.
It's just,
Every time. It's like, it's almost animalistic in like the anger.
Yeah. Uncontrollable sort of
Yeah.
rage, yeah.
It's
But like, where from? Is my question.
what happened to this kid?
Yeah. On the same day
Jesus.
as stomping a woman to death, Sophie Dickman luckily survived,
That's
however.
an unfortunate surname.
Yeah, a little bit. She was 63. She was assaulted at gunpoint, attempted rape, but she was still robbed. Then,
Better be robbed of your property than your life.
yes, very true, very true. Then a few weeks later, Layla and Maxon Needham in Glendale.
Mhm.
Layla was 66, Maxon was 68. They were hacked at with a machete. He shot them both in the head, and then
Please tell me
mutilated.
they didn't survive.
They did not survive.
Thank God.
He then mutilated their bodies afterwards with
Oh.
machetes and robbed them also. Nice guy.
That's unpleasant.
Yeah. July 20th, 85. Chainarong and some kid and their 8-year-old son in LA. So some kid and her son survived. Chainarong was shot in the head in bed, so died instantly. But some kid was repeatedly raped, beaten, but again, she and the son survived.
No assault of the child?
No.
Oh, it's a new one.
No. He mostly just, like, bound the child, and sometimes he'd unbound them just to, like, be like, tell me where expensive shit in your house is so I can take it. But he didn't hurt these children. He definitely did other children, but not these ones.
Do you know what? You have to respect the fact that, like, he had the mental capacity after doing something like that
Yeah.
to rein it back in again.
Yeah.
And utilize the child to find the belongings.
Yeah, literally. And that happens several times in these crimes that you'll notice.
I remember there was one where he stole, like, a really expensive, like, beatbox.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like a boombox or something?
Yeah.
And he sold it.
Mm.
And then they, like, tracked that back to him afterwards after he'd been arrested or something.
Yeah. So, August 6th, Chris and Virginia Peterson in LA,
Mm-hmm.
they both survived.
Mm.
Virginia was 27. She was shot in the face. Don't know how she survived that, but she did. Chris was shot in the neck. Because he didn't go down, he actually fought Ramirez.
With a gunshot wound to the neck.
Yeah.
I like this guy. I like this guy.
And he pretty much won the fight. Ramirez barely escaped. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
boy!
they somehow both survived.
Fuck him up.
Yeah, so that was pretty entertaining to read. August 8th, Sakina and Elias and their 3-year-old son. So this was in a place called Diamond Bar. Sakina and her son survived. The dad, however, did not. So Sakina was 27 and Elias, her partner, was 31. He, again, shot Elias in the head while he was in bed. Instant death. He then beat and bound Sakina. He then robbed and raped her also. The kid, this is pretty bad, entered the room mid-rape. He then tied the kid up and then continued raping the mum. In front of the kid. Yeah.
Whole new level.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. August 18th, Peter and Barbara Pran. So this... Well, I remember,
Peter Pan?
Peter Pan.
Peter
Yeah.
Pan!
I remember laughing at that in the documentary. Unfortunately, Peter did not survive. Barbara did. This was in San Francisco.
Oh.
Peter was 66. Again, headshot straight in the bed.
Do you know there's a theme here?
There is.
He doesn't like the men surviving.
No, he doesn't. It is both
The women he doesn't really care about because he likes to enjoy, like,
their suffering and shit.
their suffering
Yeah.
and their pain and their torment. But the men are kind of pretty much useless to him.
Yeah, literally.
So in the Richard Ramirez case, if you're a male, you're automatically
Probably a victim.
dead.
Yeah. Barbara was 62. She was beaten, sexually assaulted, and he actually shot her in the head. She survived.
This is a theme here.
Yeah, I don't know how. It's pretty impressive. He then also drew pentagrams around the house and apparently wrote a message on the wall saying Jack the Knife. And he also left a shoe print at this place as well. So
Jack the Knife.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but
all I'm thinking of the Robin Williams song, "Hey, Jack the Knife." It's one of my mum's favourites.
Okay.
So Robbie Williams?
Robbie Williams. Robin Williams is the comedian.
Okay, Robbie Williams then.
Yeah.
Robbie Williams. I think it's actually called Jack the Knife. It's a good song.
Yeah.
It's a classic. You should check it out.
So August 24th, James Romeo Jr. and his family. Yeah. This was in Mission. The attack was actually aborted and no one was harmed. So basically, he'd gone to attack them. The boy noticed something suspicious. He was 13, I believe, at the time. It's 13 to 16 anyway. He noticed something suspicious, went to get his dad, and Ramirez was like, shit, they know something's up, I'm a bail, so he left.
Wasn't he like a police officer?
It could have been that one,
yeah.
possibly.
There was one case where he tried to attack a police officer.
The main police officer, yeah.
But
he went and attacked someone else.
Yeah.
So on the same day, or night, Bill Carnes and Inez Erickson, same area. They both survived, luckily. Bill, who was 30, and Inez, who was 29, he shot Bill 3 times in the head, and he survived. Impressive.
What is wrong with this guy's aim?
Inez was forced to swear her love for Satan while she was being beat and raped.
I mean, I would say just about anything if I thought it would stop that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah, you wouldn't take much convincing if that was happening to me.
Yeah.
To make me say that I swear my love on Satan.
Yeah, it was, pretty bad. So in terms of the shoe, the police found that only 6 of the same shoe in that size had ever been made. But
imagine being stupid enough to wear a really rare shoe when you go and murder and rape and pillage.
Yeah, I know. But to be fair, he didn't even think about it. It must have been something he'd robbed or something. And apparently, you'll see it in the Netflix documentary. The media found out this information and they leaked it.
Didn't they find murders in another city and they briefed the mayor of that city and the mayor then went on record telling them everything?
Yeah. And then, because they talked about the shoes, he then threw away the shoes.
Yeah. And so they could no longer connect through the shoes.
Yeah.
Some of those murders because this mayor was
stupid
and looking for publicity.
Literally. They did find his fingerprint, and they matched it from a car that had been stolen. They searched on the database, it matched Ramirez.
Was this the car they were waiting months to get a report on?
It could have been. They then also released the mugshot to the media. It was around this time as well that they managed to get his dental records finally from someone who suspected he might have gone there, and it was.
And they fudged the
because he had
the undercover off. They fudged the surveillance, didn't they? Because they had like 3 or 4 days they had the dental office under surveillance, and then they were forced to withdraw the surveillance, and then that day that they withdrew, Richard came into the office.
Yeah, literally.
So they missed him by like a slither.
Yeah. So, Richard had gone to go visit his brother, who wasn't there, so he come back to LA. This is the capture. This is the best bit.
So if you saw the last episode, I made a request to Beth to find something that was vaguely funny in the cases. And so that's why we're doing the Richard Ramirez, because obviously the capture is
the best
by far so entertaining.
It's so funny.
It's hilarious. So Beth is going to tell us now about the capture of Richard Ramirez that is quite honestly, like, it should be in like a Simpsons episode or something.
They should definitely
it's
make
stupid.
like a gag of it or something.
It's stupid. It's so dumb.
It's pretty funny. So, because his brother wasn't at the house, he returned to LA. Ramirez then saw police pretending to be
at the bus terminal, wasn't it?
At the bus terminal.
They looked like the police, but they were really clean. They looked like homeless people, but they were really clean.
They were trying to blend in, but they couldn't. He recognised them. As he was going through this bus station, there were some Hispanic women there who started acting quite scared, and they were looking at him. and they started saying El Matador, which means killer in Spanish. So they were identifying him there and then.
Oh, the killer.
And then that's when he saw that his face was all
over the newspapers.
All over
everything.
Them. Front page, everything. He then fled.
And let's be honest, Richard Ramirez, if you've seen a picture of him, has a
very distinctive.
Pretty distinctive face.
Yeah. He then he went to the Rose, tried to hijack a car, but was unsuccessful.
He pegged it on foot after that, didn't he?
No, he tried to hijack one more car. That's when someone, so he tried to take the keys from the wife of the car. The husband came round, was like, don't think so, mate. Grabbed a garden post, hit him over the head with it. Yeah, sounds pretty great. And then that's when he sets off running on foot. And the funniest thing is...
Isn't he followed by like a public bus or something?
So basically... He kept, while he was running, he kept, like, jumping over fences, going in people's gardens, like, running through them all. And people kept calling the police and being like, alright, someone's just run through my garden. Or someone's just, like, come on my property. And the police were tracking him as he went house to fucking house. And it's the funniest shit ever. Oh, so good. It's so good.
It needed a theme tune. You know the stupid little, like, cartoon running?
Yes, it absolutely did.
It needed a theme tune.
Funny. That is when he got basically towards the end of the street. A group of over 10 civilians chased him, managed to grab him, beat him, forced him to the ground, then beat the shit out of him.
As they rightly should.
Yes, and they basically had him in a civilian arrest.
Until the police turned up and were like...
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job, guys. Yeah, literally. So,
that is by far the most entertaining apprehension of a suspect I've ever witnessed.
That's the best one I've ever heard of. Yeah, it was pretty great.
Citizens arrest via the heart of LA.
Yeah, literally. And just the image of the police getting the same call and just tracking him, jumping over each fence is the funniest shit I've read in true crime. It's so good. So, in terms of like the trial and afterwards, at the first trial, he became quite infamous, if he wasn't already, for
he was like a sex symbol, wasn't he?
Yeah, he kind of was low-key.
Low-key?
Stop.
There was no low-key about it.
Low-key, no. He held up his hand, and he had a pentagram drawn on it.
Hail Satan!
And said, Hail Satan. Yes, correct. Not much else to say there. He was convicted of all charges. Those charges were 13 murders, 5 attempted murders, 11 sexual assaults, 14 burglaries.
Is that it?
That's it.
Out of everything that happened on it, that's all the charges he faced.
And he didn't even get charged for any of the stuff that happened with kids either.
Oh yeah, because there was that case that they talked about, like, how he, like...
taken, and he apparently liked to take...
He liked to take and sexually molest repeatedly young girls.
Yeah.
And young boys.
And then release them.
And like drop them off at like petrol stations and stuff and tell them to go back home or go to the police.
But he was never convicted of any of those.
Because there was no proof.
Yeah. He was actually given the death sentence by a gas chamber. He actually though died of B-cell lymphoma in 2013 before he could get before he could get cancer, before he could get the gas chamber. He'd be waiting like another 20 years plus, it said, before he would ever get in the gas chamber, so...
Hey, I would have been happy to let him sit and rot in prison for 20 more years.
Yeah. But yeah, on the note of being a bit of a sexy symbol, don't know why, honestly.
There's nothing attractive about this man, in my opinion.
He was flooded with love letters. Absolutely flooded.
He got like sexy pictures and everything as well.
He got everything.
Oh.
He had hardcore fans. He actually married one of his fans in 1996. However, she left him when it was confirmed through DNA that he had raped and murdered a 9-year-old girl. But then he got remarried to someone else.
I'm so glad that was the breaking point for her.
Yeah.
Of all the things he'd done, this one case, horrific though it may be, is the one that made her be like, oh, maybe being married to a serial killing, child assaulting, raping piece of trash
I don't believe it's
is not a good idea.
Yeah.
I love how this was the point where she was like, this is not a good idea.
Yeah, she was like, alright, that's it for me. The woman can die, but, a child, heaven forbid.
mean, don't get me wrong, that's sick and disgusting, but wow, at that point, with all those lives and all those things he'd done to people, that was the bit where she was like, nah, I'm out.
Yeah, literally.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
And then he just got married to someone else, another fan. So, and I'm assuming, from the sounds of it, they were still married by the time he died. He did also have hepatitis A, I want to say, from drugs. So that helped towards his death as well. But yeah, mainly B-cell lymphoma.
Shit.
Yeah. But if he didn't die of that, he would still be alive today. In jail. Still on death penalty.
Still on death row.
Yeah.
Dead ass, somebody would have put him on the death row documentaries.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Oh, there's, like, bare interviews of him as well that you can find so
He's a pop
easy.
star, basically.
He loved to talk, man. He was very happy with the attention.
There was this other serial killer who, like, practically got a book deal. The guy who had, the 24 Faces of...
yeah, you're on about the mentally ill one.
Yeah. Well, the mentally ill one. There's a few of them. But yeah, the guy who had the personality disorder.
That's on Netflix as well.
It as you can see, we get a lot of our material from Netflix. But yeah, no, he got book deals and stuff from that, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's one way to get notoriety. It's like one way to get fame, and people will do anything for that kind of shit.
Disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, here we are, years later, still talking about Richard Ramirez. So, it worked.
It does work.
But there, that was today's episode. Episode 6, Richard Ramirez. I hope we've not disturbed you too much there. Just think about his capture. It'll make you laugh.
What amazes me is we managed to go through this entire episode while still eating our pizza.
Yeah, literally. So, I'm going to grab my cuppa now.
Definitely.
We're going to finish our scran.
That's true.
We hope you had a good time.
Lock your doors, people.
Yeah, lock your doors, lock your windows.
Stay safe.
Don't be weird. Right.
Don't be weird. See you later for episode 7.
You will do, right. Bye-bye.
Bye.